These are the 25-man heroic Naxxramas bosses, the Four Horsemen. The Four Horsemen each have about 2.5 million health. As soon as you begin the fight, they will run to separate corners of the room, so you should ensure that your teams are already set up at their designated corners. Each horseman will use one or two unique damaging spells, and will cast their mark on you as a debuff. First, we'll run down the unique skills that each horseman has. Thane Corthaz will run up to the front left corner of the room. For the purposes of this video, front means nearest to the entrance, and left means your left as you're standing at the entrance facing the horseman. Thane will use a spell called Meteor. This spell will cause about 50k damage, which will be split between all the players within an 8-yard radius. For this reason, he should not be tanked alone unless you have a tank that can take a 50k hit. And you probably don't. Thane is a melee fighter and will need to be tanked face to face. Baron Rivendare will run to the front right corner of the room. He's also a melee fighter and must also be tanked face to face. The spell he'll use is called Unholy Shadow. This does 4.5 to 5.5 thousand damage to the player with the most threat. It also applies a dot that will do 12k damage over 8 seconds. He uses this spell about every 15 seconds. Lady Blaumeux will run to the back left corner. Remember that back means the side farthest from the entrance. Lady will use Shadow Bolt, which is a 2-second cast that causes 8.5 to 9.5k damage. She'll cast it on the closest player, so the tank should stand close while the rest of the raid should stand far back. She'll also summon Void Zones, which appear as black spots on the ground underneath a random player within 45 yards. It will do 4,250 damage per second to anyone standing on it. She casts one of these about every 15 seconds. Each Void Zone lasts a minute and 15 seconds. Finally, we have Sir Zeliek. He will obviously run to the back right corner of the room and will use 2 damaging spells in addition to his mark. Firstly, he'll use Holy Bolt, which is a 2-second cast and does 9 to 10k damage. He'll only cast this on the closest player, not the one with the most threat. He'll also use Holy Wrath, which does about 3k damage to a random player within 45 yards, and can jump to any player within 10 yards, and continue jumping over and over. Each jump causes it to increase the damage caused by 50%. This effect will increase exponentially. He'll use it once every 15 seconds. As this may sound really confusing, once you understand the mechanics of the fight, it becomes very simple. You'll need at least 2 tanks for this fight to go smoothly. You should note that the healers for Zeliek and Blaumeux's tanks can remain in the middle without taking any marks. You'll need to assign raid members to their individual horsemen and positions in the room. The groups for Rivendare and Corthaz should consist of 1 tank, 1 or 2 healers, and half of your DPS on each side. The groups for Zeliek and Blaumeux should have 1 ranged class each, preferably a class that can heal themselves, such as a druid or paladin, and 1 to 2 healers each. These will be tanking the ranged magic damage for the horsemen to which they are assigned. If you happen to have more than 2 tanks, you can put them in place of a ranged class for one of these horsemen, but it's not necessary to do so. Since the healers can stand in the middle and usually heal the groups tanking both sides, you can sometimes assign a single healer to handle both the tanks for Zeliek and Blaumeux. The groups should already be in their assigned positions when the encounter begins. The Corthaz and Rivendare groups should all stand on the tank and remain as close as possible, including the DPS and the healers. The Zeliek and Blaumeux groups should be at maximum range between the 2 horsemen. Every time a group gets their 3rd mark of 1 horseman, they should switch places so that mark can wear off. Corthaz and Rivendare should switch places with each other, and Zeliek and Blaumeux should switch places with each other. That means the 2 groups in the front will switch places, and the 2 groups in the back will switch places. The Corthaz and Rivendare tanks should drag their horsemen to near the door that you entered from, and taunt off of each other, then drag their horsemen back to their corner. Because of the meteor, both groups should remain stacked on the tank as closely as possible, even while switching positions. The Zeliek and Blaumeux tanks should also switch positions as soon as they get their 3rd mark, but since those horsemen only hit the nearest raid member to them and use a ranged attack, it's not necessary to taunt off of one another. After Corthaz and Rivendare are dead, their groups will switch to Zeliek and Blaumeux. Remember that the groups fighting Zeliek must remain spread out at least 10 yards apart, and the groups fighting Blamo should be aware of void zones. You will still need to switch sides every time you get 3 marks, but keep in mind that these two will always target the closest player, so keep your healers on the ready to heal anyone who's close, and keep your tanks ready to get close. Make sure that all the DPS and healers are aware that when switching sides, you stay with your tank. You do not stay with the horseman you were previously on, or you'll get way too many marks of that horseman, and you'll die very quickly. Thank you for watching the Boozin Bullies Guide to the 4 Horsemen. We wish you the best luck and loot in your next boss encounter.
One more time before I'm gonna get an off grade. 4 AM don't matter cause I got nothing better to do.
It's time for school.
I earned every epic I got by skipping class, stupid ass. Don't be a hater, I'll tell you how to learn to play. You gotta play WoW every day. You got to play WoW. You got to play WoW. You got to play WoW. You got to play every day. You got to play WoW. You got to play WoW. You got to play WoW. You got to play every day. You wanna be a PvP god, sporting rank 14 gear like that warrior's got? Quit your job, who needs 40 grand when you got a shiny weapon that can two-shot rad? Don't lose your brain. I'm tired. I don't care if you got the best gear in the game. Don't you want rewards from Burning Crusades? No, not really. Light to fly. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play every day. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play every day. Gold, gold, swimming in gold. Time to make it twink, it'll never get old. Rolling over clogs by 29 Road. Satyr channel on every weapon I own. Aw, hacks, what the f***? Crit aim shot from across the zone. Button mashing lucky bastard. I was on the phone. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play every day. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play WoW. You've got to play every day.
Taking course getting down fast because we're bringing all these guys and we'll be in trouble for not taking them quick. I'm coming up with 32 repeating, of course. Let's do this.